Hey there, YouTube! It's Wake Angel 2001 coming at you with another Sonic Boom vlog. And this is my brand new Nintendo Switch, which I will hold up in view of the camera for as long as I can in this video so that my immortality can be sustained by the endless envy of the people who are watching. Alright, so this episode of Sonic Boom, what was the title? I think it was like something like Lights Out or Blackout or something. Hold on. Blackout. Yes, Blackout. And this episode is the one that actually feels the most like an adaptation to the video games that they ever made. Like this is straight up completely based on the video game. Like, there's references to the ancients, there's a good old-fashioned fetch quest for the villagers, and they even the mechanics of it work just like in the game. So yeah, this is straight up pretty much an adaptation of a level from one of the Sonic Boom games, just straight up. And it was pretty good. This is also kind of a Knuckles episode. Like last week was also a Knuckles episode, but this is like a Knuckles episode that's good, like that makes Knuckles look good rather than having him just be like a victim of circumstance. All right, so let's do the synopsis. So the episode begins with Comedy Chimp making a joke about how he wants to take things seriously and acknowledge a hero, and then he holds up a big sandwich. And then the TV goes out because the power goes off. So Styx says that the Styxism of this episode is that the power's gone out, and Sonic starts to accuse all the things that Styx might talk about, like Martians, Pod People, Inspector 34, and Styx is like, Pod People wouldn't do this, and Styx is like, I'm talking about Eggman. And so I was like, huh, Eggman. Huh, yeah, that's possible. I agree with Styx. That's oddly disturbing to think about. Okay, now, I tried Googling Inspector 34 to see if that's a reference to something, and all I could find was that it was a reference to The Adventures of Pete and Pete, where Inspector 34 was the guy who made sure that the underwear was always perfect. So that's the only reference to Inspector 34 I could find. If any of you know of any other Inspector 34 references that don't come from 20 to 30-year-old Nickelodeon shows, let me know in the description below. So they go to Eggman's lair and knock his door down. Knuckles says, "I have a doorbell for a reason, you know." And there's no power. Like, yes. Well, go ahead and smash away then. You know, that's why a nice, literally a bell is useful. Like, you push the button and a hammer hits a bell. Ding dong, you know? Like, you don't need an electronic door chime to have a doorbell. So it turns out that Eggman's not behind the blackout because he has also lost power, and as a scientist who specializes in robotics, not having electricity is very counterproductive. Of course, Cubot and Orbot still work because they have exceptionally long battery lives. And it's not because their brains are made out of Nintendo Switch controllers. Like, seriously, the battery life on this thing is amazing. Straight out the box, without even charging it up, I was able to play for 5 hours and didn't even use half of the charge. So they said that Eggman said that the reason their battery lasted so long is because their low-density brains use so little energy. So they say that. So they basically say goodbye to Eggman. He's done with his cameo for the episode. Although before we leave, Cubot says that, "Oh, our brains use so little energy because we're dumb. I just got that." Like, their power is gonna last for decades. So they go to confront the mayor about it, who tries to wave it away as a no big deal thing. But then he breaks down and says, "All right, it's not an expected blackout." So he shows them he opens up a panel, which is a door that only opens with electricity. Huh. I guess it wasn't very smart to put a door that we would need to open in a blackout that has to be opened with electricity. So he pushes it, and finally a wall panel opens up, revealing an ancient crystal. An ancient crystal, which is the power source for the village's electrical grid. which has been passed down from mayor to mayor for all these generations. An ancient crystal which powers their civilization, just like the video games. Ha 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 ha. So they get charged with your standard video game fetch quest, where, oh, and by the way, they've all been wearing their luminescent clothing, so, you know, I just thought you might like to, like that was a fun thing. It's nice to see them glowing again. So they agree to go on a mission to go up the mountain to where the ancient cave is and get a replacement crystal. So we have a montage sequence where they're climbing up the mountain, and Tails is writing a letter back to Zoe. Dear Zoe, who would have thought that there would be so much snow this far up, this just 2 minutes walk away from the village. And when they turn back, they saw that Zoe is standing practically at the edge of the village, waving goodbye to them with a snow line right in front of her. So it's like, guys, you know, like video game logic: tropical paradise, snow-covered wasteland. And there's absolutely no transition between. Just like the first several Sonic games. So Tails starts writing letters like, oh, it's day 12. I've completely lost track of time. It might actually be day 2. So oh, by the way, isn't it nice to see that Tails and Zoe still kind of have a relationship thing going on? Like, they haven't really mentioned Zoe very much since the episode where she was introduced, so I was starting to think maybe the show had forgotten about her. But hey, apparently Tails and Zoe are still a thing. Isn't that nice? Okay, so they're climbing up. So they climb up the mountain, and it's all snowy, and they get about halfway there before Sonic says that it would have probably been better if they just used Blue Force 1's snowmobile mode. And Amy's like, your Blue Force 1 has a snowmobile mode, and you didn't mention it until now? So, of course, Sonic runs back to the village in like a second, gets the Blue Force 1 from his hut, and then drives it back up the mountain, doing a really cool transformation sequence where it turns from a hover bike into a snowmobile thing, with like ripping tires, and like, that's awesome. Oh, but before that, we actually did get to see Knuckles do a thing, because the wind was getting so strong that it was blowing them off the mountain, but Knuckles was able to use his moves from the video game to anchor himself in the ground and climb up behind a rock outcropping that would break the wind. So, like, Knuckles, he's doing the thing. So they get to they get to an ancient door, which is kind of similar to the Buddy Buddy Temple from Season 1. But there's a riddle at it that it says that logic and strength won't help you, but you have to find the lazy way in. So Sonic can't bust down the door, and Tails can't figure out the cipher that would unlock it. So Knuckles, he just decides to sit in a rock, and that rock is what is the trigger that opens the door. So yeah, the lazy way. So they go inside, and there's a rock guardian. It's like a stone golem, kind of like an ancient robot thing. And he says that if they're gonna get to the temple, then they're gonna have to solve 3 riddles and trials. Does that include the one that we came in? No, not including that one. Aww. So Styx just tries to shove him out of the way. Well, I don't need to listen to this stone guardian. All right. That was a bit harsh. Some things were said. We'll do the thing. Like, great! So then he vanishes, and the next door opens. So they go in, and then the riddles are asked. The thing is, like, there's a little bit of participation in this episode, because the way that the riddles are asked, there's just enough time in the episode for the audience to try and figure out what it is before they actually say the answer. So, a little bit of audience participation. I like that in a kids show. So the first one is, how many sides does a circle have? And then the room starts to fill with poison gas. Tails says that since a circle is round, it doesn't have any sides. But Knuckles, he says that a circle actually has 2 sides, the inside and the outside. And for the record, I actually solved this riddle. I said, like, how many sides does a circle have? 2, the inside and the outside. And then the Parrot came and Knuckles did it like, eee! So when Knuckles answers the riddle, the stone golem vanishes, and they move on to the next one. Oh, and Styx criticized the rhyming scheme of the riddle because the riddle was supposed to be asked in rhyme, but the rhyme was kind of clumsy. So then the second challenge was that it's in the sky above and below the sun, but it doesn't cast a shadow. What am I like? And Styx says that the rhyme was better, but the meter sucked. And basically, the answer to this one was that the wind. Now this one I didn't quite get right. I guess sky. I mean, I was kind of close. Like Sonic was trying to figure out, Tails was trying to figure out clouds, but clouds cast shadows. Sonic tried to go bird, like transparent bird. Yeah, but Knuckles is the one who figured out the wind. So yeah, he won. So then they go into the third trial. I'm kind of upset with myself that I didn't get that one. I mean, I was kind of close. The sky, the wind, they're kind. I bet my answer would have been an acceptable substitute because it is technically also correct. I mean, the sky does not cast a shadow. And then the third question. What was the third question? Darn it. Alright, so we go into the third question, and there's one more Stone Guardian, and he asks a question, and Styx actually says that both the rhyme and the meter work, and that's probably why he's the awesome third Guardian. Oh yeah, it's something that can easily be broken. I forgot how it was exactly answered, but I got the correct when I said the silence. Because the silence is something that can be broken with the meter's whisper. So, So everyone's trying to figure the riddle out as a ring of Stone Guardians are walking closer and closer together, and no one else can move them or break them. But Knuckles, he asks for silence so that because he can't hear his brain thoughts, and boom, there's that's the answer. So they get through and they find the crystal, and Sonic tries to swap the crystal out with something of equal weight, so he has a priceless golden beaver. And he swaps it out, and at first it looks like it works, but then Indiana Jones style, the pedestal sinks and the place starts to collapse. So they all run out of there with a parody of the Indiana Jones theme playing, because I just made the Indiana Jones reference, so why not? And they get back in the Blue Force 1. They go down the mountain with an exciting snowboarding scene where they keep dropping the crystal, but the others catch it, and Knuckles catches the crystal. And they get back to the village square, where of course there's a whole bunch of rioting going on because, as soon as we lose power, civilization completely collapses. And they get the crystal to the mayor's office, where it's hooked back up to the power grid. The lights turn back on, and everybody stops rioting and throws down their torches. I would have put those torches out before I set them down, because that's kind of a fire hazard. But the point is, nobody's rioting anymore. The TV comes back on, and Comedy Chimp is standing there with the sandwich in his hand, the exact same position he was in before the TV cut out, and takes a bite out of it. So I like to imagine the fact that when the power cut out, Comedy Chimp just kind of sat there for a day or two, or however long this adventure took, just sitting there at his desk with the sandwich in his hand, waiting for the camera light to turn back on. Unless this is actually a quiet little reference to the fact that Comedy Chimp is actually a robot, which is controlled by which is connected to the power grid, and when the power went out, he just kind of stood there like a statue until power was restored. One of these two things is true. So Sonic tries to compliment Knuckles, saying that he's smarter than everyone gave him credit for. Knuckles says something stupid, which causes Sonic to take back what he said, and that's where the episode ended. I really like this episode! Like I said, this is an almost perfect cartoon. This is an almost perfect episode to show that this cartoon is an adaptation of the video game, because it basically plays out like a level of the video game. Like, you're presented with, you go to the village, you're given a task to do, you run through some challenges, and you run back, and you get in the thing, and the mission is thing. I could almost see the achievement light lighting up over this. This is a perfect, we are adapting a video game thing. So that this episode was actually really great. If you really want to see an episode that feels like you're watching a video game adaptation, this is it. This is the perfect one. Of all the episodes of Sonic Boom they've given before, this is the one that most accurately translates the mechanics of the games themselves into episode format. Plus, I really liked how Knuckles was the one who solved everything this time. Like, I have never kept it secret that I've always been irritated by how Knuckles is a complete fall down in this series. How they made him so stupid that he's completely illiterate. And when, in this very episode, he tried to name all the numbers he could think of. Like, oh, we're just naming random numbers? One. I don't know that many numbers. But yeah, like, aside from that, like, he actually got the win this week. And I like to see Knuckles win. I like to see Knuckles win almost as much as I like to see Styx do her crazy Styxisms. And I would be really interested in knowing if that Inspector 34 thing was actually a Pete and Pete reference. Because if it was, then holy crap, the people who make this show are nerds. Alright, I think I've effectively called enough kettles black today. This is Wake Angel 2001 signing off.